Hello and welcome back to the Spotlight podcast today with your different host to normal, Lucas. Tom Box is no longer with us. He has decided to pursue future ventures, so we're going to carry on the podcast in his honour. It was his idea to start in the first place, so we wish him the best of luck, of course. But today we're joined by our usual guests, Phil and Cam.
Hello.
Hello. So let's get right into it. So over the past couple of days, it's obviously been League Cup action. We've had two games, two semi-final second legs. We've had Villa and Leicester, and Man City against Manchester United in the Manchester derby. So we'll start off on Tuesday's game. Aston Villa 2, Leicester 1. Cam, what did you make to the game?
It was a very good game. The Villa keeper had an unbelievable game. He was brilliant. I do think it is deserved. There wasn't too much moan on Leicester's behalf, apart from Maddison having a rant on Twitter about the handball.
Controversial.
Yeah. But it was good to see Villa win. And yeah, what do you think, Phil?
I was sort of surprised by Leicester going out, considering they've been so good in Premier League this season. But like you said, on the balance of the two legs, I think Villa deserved it, and they're rightly in the final.
Yeah, Villa's first leg especially, when they took the lead and held out for a long time until Iheanacho scored to take it to 1-1, take it back to Villa Park. But do you think Leicester's magic is beginning to sort of wear off? We've seen in recent weeks they've had a few poor performances, lost at home to Southampton, lost away to Burnley. What do you think to that, Phil?
I think, apart from winning comfortably against Newcastle, just after Christmas, I think they struggled against the two sides they're competing with at the top of the table, Man City and Liverpool. They both comfortably beat them, and they seem to just gone downhill a bit. I think maybe it's got to the point in the season where tiredness has kicked in.
Yeah, they haven't got as much depth as the teams they're meant to be competing against in the big six and all
the experience really to kick on from where they were, because he was in a good position. He was ahead of City by, was it 6 points?
Yeah.
And now they're 6 points behind. So.
Especially over this Christmas period, because it really does actually get to the players.
Yeah, I think especially those consecutive games against Man City, obviously before Christmas, and then Boxing Day, where Liverpool just obliterated them, really. That performance from Trent Alexander-Arnold, we wrote about it last night, weren't we? Unreal. Sorry.
On the Villa-Leicester note, quick one, just straight away, who's better, Grealish or Maddison?
That's the question I had here for you. I don't know. It's because we're not completely different players, but they have the different players in terms of what they bring. So Grealish is obviously more of a sort of direct sort of dribbler with a ball, and obviously he can shoot, he can create. But Maddison, I'd say, is a better passer and natural creator. I don't know. It's so tough to call. I mean, Southgate's going to have a problem picking between the two for the Euros. What do you think, Phil? Maddison or Grealish?
I think both are exceptionally good players, but when you think Grealish is in the Aston Villa team, who he's sort of dependent on to keep them beating in the Premier League for next season, I think you have to respect that and how well he's doing in that side. When you look at Maddison, he's got a good midfield around him, and Didi behind. You've got Tielemans. I think arguably Grealish is having the better season. Whether that means he's a better player, I'm not too sure, but there's definitely a good reason for him to be considered better than Maddison.
What do you think, Cam?
Well, obviously they're very similar quality, that's why they're being compared, but I think if I was to sign one for Man United, it would be Grealish, because like you said, he can play that a little bit deeper, and he can dribble past players a bit easier, and he can create a lot more by himself, and I think he would be cheaper due to him being at Villa as well.
So heading back onto Villa, do you think this season so far has been a success? Seems as though they've got to the League Cup final, and they're not doing too bad in the Prem. I think they're just above the relegation zone. But do you think if they were to survive, it would be considered a success?
If they was to stay up, I think it would be a success. I mean, like you said, they got to a League Cup final. That's in itself a really good achievement for Villa. In the league, I think any championship side who comes up is going to struggle to stay in the league with how much money is there and just the quality of players of even the bottom half. It's hard to compete. So I think it would be a success, but they need to kick on from that if they do stay up.
Yeah.
I think they have to stay up to be considered a success because the amount of signings they made and the amount of money they spent was
That's very true.
It was like in the top 4 in the Premier League.
Yeah.
How much spent? I mean, they have been unlucky with 2 signings, Wesley and Heaton, being long-term injuries now. But yeah, I think they would have been aiming for mid-table when they at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll stay up?
Yeah.
Just about, but I think they're going to be in a very scrappy relegation battle all the way to the end.
That's interesting.
What do you think?
Ooh, yeah, I think I agree with you. I think Bournemouth are in there at the minute, so I think they'll sort themselves out. If they do survive, it'll be 17th. It'll be by the skin of the teeth, I reckon. Anyway, moving on to last night's game as we record this. Man City 0, Manchester United 1. Cam, I'm sure you were happy with the result, but not the aggregate score. I'm presuming you watched the game?
Yeah.
What did you make to it?
I'd say it was a good performance because we obviously beat Man City again at the Etihad twice in a row. First time since 2000. We beat them at their stadium consecutively. Yeah, well, I can't really complain because we beat them, but obviously, like you say, I want the aggregate score. It doesn't really mean too much, does it? And then again, they did have Bravo in there and Rodri at centre back. So,
well, we watched the game together, didn't we, Phil? And
we did.
United. Well, in my opinion, I thought. Well, I don't think United deserved to win the game. I think that's
on the balance of play.
Universally agreed.
Well, I think when we went 1-0 up, I think Man City had 9 shots. We had
in the 26 minutes he had 9, and
Yeah.
then after that, until like halfway through the second half, he had none. But then United only had 3. I think on the balance of play, United had a game plan and they stuck to it, and they did well in that respect. But if you base the game on those chances and the actual play, I think Man City deserved it. But fair play to United, they came and they won.
Yeah, well, United have shown this season that when they play big teams, they show up. I mean, you saw at Anfield, they did show up despite not winning the game. They arguably deserved to get a point, but could have had a point out of that game. With chances they miss, I've seen Phil's face and he doesn't agree with me.
No,
but
I think they played all right. I don't think they deserved any more than what they got.
Well, maybe not deserved, but they arguably could have had a point. If
they took the chances, it could have ended differently. But if Liverpool had good chances in that game,
okay,
which could have made the scoreline even bigger than it were.
What even happens to Sterling when he plays against Man United?
It's Wan-Bissaka's got his number. That's literally what it is.
But
I think
he's never scored against Man United, even dating back to the Liverpool days.
It's not just against City though. Recently, I've noticed his output's changed. At the start of the season, he was being considered one of the best players, and don't get me wrong, he's class. But there's something he's not quite himself. I don't think at the minute.
I think he needs Leroy Sané to come back because he needs some contention for that left wing spot. Because at the minute he's kind of nailed that down because we don't really have another out and out left winger. Mahrez is considered as a right winger because he always cuts onto his left foot. Same with Bernardo Silva. I think we need Sané's return to maybe just give him a kick up the backside. If you're not playing very well, then he's going to come and take your place. Moving back on to Man United, agreed a deal with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes. Cam, do you think that's going to fix Man United's on-field problems, not off-field?
No. We need a lot more than just him. But obviously he's a step in the right direction. At least we're actually signing a player now. But no, we need over half a team to fix our on-field problems. And obviously, as he comes in now, Matic will now have a suspension. And then we've got McTominay and Pogba out for quite a while still. So it'll help in midfield. It's needed. And I think anyone's better than Pereira and Lingard in that position. So
are you not excited because you don't seem too thrilled by the signing? I mean, it has been a long process trying to get him. I mean, it's been going on for probably the best part of a year now trying to get into the club.
I feel as if we're going to put too much expectation on him to change things around when whoever we sign, no matter whether it's like Sanchez, Falcao, Di Maria, they don't seem to impress. I don't know what happens to them when they go United. I think we played in the wrong position.
It's like they shrink into like a player that no one's ever seen them.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion, it's a really good signing for United, but it's whether he can have the same numbers that he's had at Sporting and take United, not even to a new level, but just improve them. And it'll be an interesting to see how he fits in.
Yeah, the Man United curse is it seems genuinely real, because you've seen players that have moved on this summer. Lukaku obviously smashing it for Inter, was considered a bit of a joke at Man United. Same with Chris Smalling as well, smashing it at Roma. You look to last year, you wouldn't think these players would be shining like they are now, but it's Manchester United as a club that they can only bring through academy products that shine rather than top names through the door and turn them into the players that the potential shows them to be.
I don't know whether it's like the physios and the nutrition that's wrong at United, because like at United there seems to be quite a lot of bad injuries, like, and the same type of injuries. Like I think we had 3 or 4 players injured this season with back injuries, and you look at Lukaku at Everton, he was a slim but muscular build, and then he goes to United and everyone's taking the piss kind of thing, because he's fat and all that. But then he goes to Inter Milan again, he's in shape. Same with Sanchez, he looks sharper again, he's ready to play.
Yeah. Also, while we're just on the League Cup, who do you think's going to win? I mean,
I think it
seems
two hands on the trophy of Man City.
It seems obvious that City will win, but I have this niggling doubt that maybe not. You know, I know we have a good record at Wembley, but just that sometimes this season where we've really have pummeled teams in the league, we've struggled when we face them again. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Plus, I've got a mate who's a Villa fan, so I really wouldn't want to lose it. So we all universally agreed on
Man City
Man
to
City.
win.
4-0 Man City.
Oof, God.
5-0 Man City.
Okay, I'm not going to make a prediction just because I don't want it to backfire. Moving on now to the main sort of theme of the video. What we're going to do, we're going to go through a couple, 3 or 4 teams that have overachieved and 3 or 4 teams that have underachieved this season. So we're going to start off with you, Phil. We'll start off with the overachieving teams. Which teams do you think, especially in the Premier League this season, that have sort of gone above and beyond expectation?
I think for me, the one that stands out is Sheffield United. They've come up from the Championship. Not many people really thought they'd do that well, and up until recently they've been top 7, top 8, and you know that's exceptional considering a lot of those players are from like League One, the Championship, and the managers put the style of play into the team that every player follows, and they've been incredible, and they've been a good watch as well. Like some teams coming up and they're pretty boring to watch, but they've been an exciting team and took every team in the league to a good battle on the pitch.
Yeah, well, they're currently 8th in the league, which is crazy to think at the start of the season people were tipping them for just going straight back down to the Championship. You think about the teams that they've taken points off as well. They've taken points off Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Wolves, Spurs. It's the bold tactics as well of Chris Wilder. I think they've really, kind of shocked teams. I just think that they've definitely surpassed expectations ever since they've rejoined the Premier League. Cam, another overachieving team for you?
Well, Sheffield United are 8th, so I'll go down to 9th with Southampton. They're only 2 points behind Sheffield United and 3 points behind Man United now. Especially after getting annihilated by Leicester at the start of the season. People Southampton fans started to question Hasenhüttl, but he's turned it around and put in some good performances now. Obviously helped by the form of Danny Ings.
Yeah, he's been really good this season.
But I don't know what kind of style, but they're they're playing well and they're getting points against good teams as well now.
Yeah, it seemed that 9-0 loss to Leicester has kind of really been the turning point of
I think the manager changed his tactics a bit, and I think it's similar tactics to what he used at Leipzig, and it seems to have worked wonders for them. I mean, everyone was tipping them for relegation, and now they're 9th in the league. Like Cam said, 2 and 3 points off Sheffield United and Man United. You know, it's a great achievement to go back up into the top half, and it'll be interesting to see how they do for the rest of the season.
So at 9th though, at this stage of the season, it's kind of maybe a bit misleading. It seems as though Watford were kind of 7th or 8th last season, and they kind of fell off towards the last sort of 10 games. They lost quite a few, and obviously the state that they're in now, I mean, they're only just recovering from like Gracia's sacking. So I think it'll be interesting to see where Southampton end up finishing at the end of the season. I think right now they can probably be considered like as you said, as overachievers in 9th, but maybe at this stage of the season it's quite interesting to see where they'll end up.
Yeah, I mean,
at the end,
you're looking at positions and you're going, that's 9th's good for Southampton, but there's 4 points between Man United in 5th and Newcastle in 14th. So
yeah,
it is very tight.
Yeah,
so one result you can
quickly.
Yeah. So I've got. It might seem a little bit obvious, but Liverpool as overachievers. I know they had lofty expectations as it was at the start of the season, but considering people thought they might just be trailing behind Man City, I think that was not universally agreed, but predicted by some, considering their summer spending. They only sort of bought Harvey Elliott,
4 million really.
Harvey Elliott,
and
Van der Berg. Yeah, I don't think people thought that Liverpool were just too comfortable and too comfortable with the squad, not looking to bring in any additions. But it's kind of gone the other way, where they're so comfortable with the squad now that it's kicked on and it's just taken the league by an absolute storm. The 19 points clear as of last night. Could be 22 points by the time City play Spurs at the weekend. And apart from that minor blip at Old Trafford, they've been literally perfect.
Oh yeah, to be unbeaten at this stage, I mean, it's painful for me. I'll have to start just ditching United at this stage. Yeah. Just whoever's Liverpool playing, I'll support them this week, because that'd be painful watching it. Yeah, whoever they're playing now, I can't bear them going unbeaten all season.
Yeah, I think. Do you think they'll go unbeaten, Phil?
I don't want to jinx it, and I think there's still a few tough fixtures, and it's hard to call. I mean, Man City away at the Etihad in about 8 games' time. That'll be huge. It's being tipped as a game Liverpool could win the league in. I mean, that for the league, that would be unbearable if that happened. But I think there's still a long way to go, and anything could happen. We've seen it before, so I don't think anyone can tip them to go invincible just yet.
Obviously, it'll get interesting when it starts getting into the Atletico Madrid Champions League later rounds. But if they were to go the 49 game unbeaten run, that 49th game is against Man City.
It will be a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can all agree that they've won the league. I'd see your face, Phil.
One hand on it so far.
I think being 19 points clear at this stage kind of more or less.
I think if Liverpool don't win it they'll never win it.
It'd be the biggest bottle job.
Yeah, you won't have a better chance to win it than now. Actually, on the topic of Liverpool, who is your? Well, I'll ask you both of you. Who is your? Well, I'll go to you, Phil, first. Who's your favourite player?
Firmino.
Why?
I think sometimes rival fans don't understand how important he is to the Liverpool team. He's an unorthodox striker. He's incredible at the link-up play and just connecting everything with that front three up. I mean, he doesn't score the most goals compared to your Sergio Aguero's, your other top strikers in the league, but he's just so important when you watch him week in, week out. He always performs.
Cam, what about you? I know obviously you're a Man United fan, but as a neutral view, who is your favourite Liverpool player?
Yeah, I don't think I'm meant to have a favourite, but
best to watch.
The one that I respect the most, it's between Trent and Fabinho.
Ooh.
Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's best. I've got to say, best right back in the world
Yeah,
at the
I
minute.
don't think
and
it's
he's-
close.
Yeah,
You really love to hear it. You really do.
as much as it pains me to say, but he's brilliant. And Fabinho, I think he's another one a bit like Firmino, he's a bit underrated, overlooked at times. I thought Liverpool would struggle more with his injury, but he has done.
I remember we
Very
sat
well.
in the room and we said, oh, Fabinho's injured for 8 weeks at the time, and we said it would be a massive test ahead of the Merseyside derby, see how we cope. And they've just kicked on like nothing's
Yeah,
changed.
I mean, I said that you'd drop points with Fabinho's loss. I didn't think Henderson could cope with sort of the pressure of playing at holding mid, but I mean, Oxlade-Chamberlain stepped up as well.
I
Massively.
think got to that point you can say any player in that Liverpool team and you can't really say anything bad about them. I think in terms of how they performed, no one's performed badly.
Dejan Lovren.
He's been injured.
Salah's greediness.
Yes. Nah, Salah's the top player.
What about your favourite player, Lucas?
We was talking about this last night.
Yeah,
weren't
we were speaking about this last night. I'd probably say Trent. I agree with you, Cam. He's so good to watch. His passing range, his crossing, and to say how young he is, he's only 20, 21, and he can pass like that at that age. He's going to be one of the world's top players.
Will he
very
surpass
soon.
Dani Alves' level?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, oh God, actually, in terms of ability,
His whole career?
no.
No.
Just because the mass amount of trophies that Dani Alves has won.
Was it about 40? that he
He's won, I think, 40 plus, yeah.
In 30 years' time, if you had to go, who was the best right back, Trent or Dani Alves?
Ability-wise, probably Trent. But it depends, because if Trent might not even be a right back in 3 or 4 years, he might be a centre mid. He's that good. He could probably play right wing. He could play centre mid. He could probably play as a number 10, as a number 6. His passing range makes him so versatile to play in a number of positions. And I think for England as well, he's going to be vital for the Euros if we get the best out of him.
I think in terms of comparing Trent to Dani Alves, I think you can only ever do that in like 30 years' time when both are well and truly finished in their careers. It depends what Trent achieves, and it depends whether Liverpool can keep on winning trophies, because obviously they're going for like a really good spell here. They've won 3 trophies in the last year. Can they kick on and win more? They look like they will this season, but whether he can keep doing that.
Do you think, just to stay on Liverpool, I know we've been talking about them for a while, do you think Liverpool win the Champions League?
I think the main focus is on the Premier League without a doubt. I think Klopp would prioritise the league over anything, but you never know. I think we've got a good draw in Atletico Madrid, another team that's struggling this season, in my opinion. Struggling to score goals, conceding quite a few, and the signings haven't really made much of an impact. So I think got a good draw. There's no reason why we can't beat them over 2 legs and just see how the draw goes after that.
What do you think, Cam?
No, I don't think they will, but because, as Phil said, they'll prioritise the league as it gets to the later stages and it's getting tight. But then again, they have already got the league wrapped up, so they might... no, I don't think they will, to put it short.
Who do you think will then?
Ooh, that's
We
a
took
good one.
quite the tangent.
Because people are tipping Man City, but personally I can't see it.
I think Liverpool will win it. I think they're the best team in the world. I don't think anyone, at the minute, no one really comes close. Every other team seems to have sort of problems.
And there's also the stat that Klopp's never lost a 2-legged European tie since he's been at Liverpool, and that's spanning over 4 years now.
I don't know. I might just say Bayern Munich might have a bit of a fluke and
Ooh, Bayern Munich.
go on to win it.
What about?
Yeah.
Do you think Liverpool will win, Phil? Or do you
I'd
wanna
love
say?
it. I'd love it if we could, but as a Liverpool fan, the league is what comes first, and that's what I want, and I think that's what every Liverpool fan can agree on.
That's yeah.
I can't see Man City winning it. I think Barcelona will be out there to try and get it after the last 2 season heartbreak of Roma and Liverpool. I think they have to do something this year. PSG, that's another team that...
Yeah, it depends if they can get it right.
It's really hard to call. There's a few teams like Liverpool, Man City, PSG, Barca, I think, are the 4 favourites in my opinion who could win. But it's a long way to go yet. Anything can happen in football.
Exactly. And on that, we'll move on to the 3 underachieving teams. So obviously I'll ask you all one apiece. Cam, we'll start with you. Underachieving teams this season, Prem or in Europe?
I'll go in the Premier League and I'll go for West Ham. Sitting at 17th every year, they want to, can we be that best of the rest and try and get into Europe? But they're sitting 17th, well, level on points with 19th, so they're well and truly in the relegation scrap. And once again, they make signs. Haller hasn't lived up to expectations. They obviously, the owners, there's a lot of resentment against them from the fans, but yeah, they should be doing a lot better.
Yeah, so it seems with West Ham that they always make, you look at the signings they make, like you said with Haller, Fornals from Villarreal in the summer, you think, well, you know, they've got the players there, they have the quality, and they probably have better squad depth than arguably anyone outside the top 6. I
think West Ham has struggled. It's not just downstairs, but ever since they moved out of the Berlin ground, I think it's just never gone the way they wanted it to. They moved into the Olympic Stadium with hope that they'd be able to push on to get into the Europa League, Champions League. You know, they've spent the money to compete, and they've just never ever lived up to it at all.
And I don't think that the appointment of David Moyes isn't exactly. It's a short-term fix rather than sort of looking.
Well, you just don't want to get relegated because it would be devastating for West Ham if they went down.
I don't think they'll get relegated. I think the quality in the squad's too good to go down. But I don't know. It's interesting with West Ham because you always think they're going to do well, but
haven't
then
they lost 12 of the last 16 games?
Probably. I mean, Pellegrini, the stretch they had with Pellegrini towards the end before he got sacked, it was, you know, he probably, as much as I love Pellegrini, I think it was his time to go. But I don't think David Moyes is the answer.
No.
Right now. Phil, what about your underachieving team?
Underachieving, I'd say Tottenham. I think they've got to a Champions League final last year, and we saw how Liverpool reacted to that. They reacted by getting 97 points next season. I'm not saying we expected Tottenham to do the same, but they've gone backwards. They're nowhere near the same team that got to that final. And I think in the league they've struggled. They've made a couple of good signings recently, but they've lost Harry Kane to injury for a few months. I just think the whole season's just been a bit of a write-off.
Yeah, especially with the scandal to do with obviously Pochettino's sacking and then Mourinho being hired the next day. You've had the Vertonghen and Eriksen sort of wife issues, let's say. I mean, Eriksen has obviously left the club now, but their All or Nothing documentary is going to be a very interesting watch, to say the least. I think, as you said, Harry Kane's injury, he always seems to get injured around this time of the season. You saw it last season, he missed quite a lot of the second half of the season, coming back in the Champions League final. I think like you said, they've just taken a step backwards. I still think they're 6th or 7th in the league, so they're not totally out of sort of reach of Champions League.
They're not, and if they got Champions League, then they'll be happy with the season, I think. But I just think they haven't improved, and with some of the players they've got, you'd expect better from them, especially when you compete. At one stage, until Mourinho came in, he was like, what position were they in?
I think they might have been
10th maybe?
Yeah, 9th or 10th, something like
And you know,
that.
when you've got teams like Arsenal, Man United who have struggled this season as well, you'd expect them to be up there. And yeah, they're getting back up to that stage now, but to be honest, I can't see them getting top 4 this season.
Do you not think so?
No.
What about you, Cam? Do you think they'll get top 4?
No, I think Chelsea being 6 points ahead of United and Tottenham now, I think they've got that distance now. I think Chelsea will just hold on.
Do you not think the signing of Bergwijn just yesterday, do you not think that will have any impact.
It's a good signing for Spurs, but I think he could come in and really hit. Like, he could score a few goals for him, elevate the position in the league, but I don't know. I just don't think he'll make top four. I think, like Cam said, Chelsea 6 points clear in fourth. Although they're being inconsistent, you never know whether they're going to win or not. I think they might just hold on. I made a prediction that Chelsea would make top four. I think they will.
Yeah, it's been weird as well with Mourinho's run. You think Mourinho sides and what you sort of associate them with, you associate them with sort of being strong in defence, and they have sort of a bullish attack, but they've conceded a lot of goals ever since Mourinho has taken over. Not kept many clean sheets. I think the first clean sheet they kept was at Watford, and that was a couple of weeks ago, and it was a 0-0 draw. You just think it's even with Harry Kane, there's something missing. Whether that be sort of defensively, it remains to be seen. But I think as well as West Ham, I think it'll be interesting to see sort of where they lie at the end of the season. So I'd say the last underachieving team for me is, I'm going to step outside of England. I'm going to mention Atletico Madrid. Like you said, struggling in the league, struggling to score goals, struggling to keep goals out of the net. The fifth in the league at the minute, which is not totally disastrous. They can easily, get back to third in the league. I don't think they'll catch Real or Barca. But I think their season might depend on sort of their tie against Liverpool in the round of 16, which will be a really interesting tie. Seems like Liverpool's attack against Simeone's, defence, if you can get it right. What do you make to that tie, Phil? Do you think Liverpool will have enough?
I think the away leg will be difficult. Going to Atletico's home, I think it'll be difficult to come away. I think, you never know, they might come away with 3 points, but I think Liverpool, although they've been so good, they have struggled away from home in Champions League. This season we lost 2-0 against Napoli. Last season we lost all the away games in the group stage. So, it could be one of those where you have to take it back to Anfield and have a big European night. It's tough to call, but they have had a bad season for them.
Cam, do you think if Atletico were to beat Liverpool over two legs, at the minute that might seem unlikely, do you think the season will be considered a success, even if they finish?
They have to finish in the Champions League for it to be a success, and it is a big if for them to get past Liverpool. But yeah, they really do have to just qualify for the Champions League, because people say that the league is a three-horse race and all that, and they're not. So yeah. I don't think we can go past underachievers without mentioning Arsenal in 10th and Napoli in 10th.
Yeah, I've got both of them down here as well. Yeah, Arsenal have been... It's kind of similar to Spurs, in that there's been a lot of things going on off the pitch that's kind of sort of been at the forefront of their season rather than what they're doing on the pitch. You see Emery sacking, sort of the fan scandal between Troops and Aubameyang. Xhaka's captaincy being stripped off him. They seem to be on an upwards trajectory now with Arteta's appointment. But Phil, do you think Arsenal will finish in the top six?
Ooh. No. I think Arteta needs time to instate his style of play on Arsenal, and I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans quite being positive about the way they're playing, but I think you've got teams ahead of them like Tottenham, Man United, who I think will get top six over them, in my opinion.
Yeah, because the summer window as well, especially the signing of Nicolas Pepe. Arsenal fans especially. I mean, Tom, when he was on the podcast, was very, he was looking forward to the season. But I just think Ceballos has been injured, and I think that's been a big blow. David Luiz has been David Luiz. I just think I don't think they're going to get top six. I don't think they've got enough quality at the minute, especially like you just said with Spurs. who should get back on the right track.
You've also got Wolves. I think that they're proven to be a really difficult team for any team to play against them, and I don't think they could get top 6 yet. You know, I just think Arsenal are just going to have to settle for no European football next season, and that could be a positive for them.
Arsenal top 6, Cam?
No, completely agree with Phil. You've got United and Tottenham in there, and there's a lot of other teams, but I think Chelsea 4th, Tottenham 5th, United 6th.
Okay, right. Well, we'll move from that then, and we'll move on finally to the Premier League preview, match day 25. It's got Saturday's fixtures, so I'll read them out for you, and you can tell me which ones you're looking forward to the most. So we've got Leicester-Chelsea, it's the 12:30 kickoff.
That should be a great game.
Well, I'll let you, because I know you love Chelsea, so I'll let you run that one down for me. What do you think?
To be honest, I think Leicester need to win that game. I think what's the points difference between Leicester and Chelsea?
It's 8 points.
8 points.
I think if Chelsea was to win that, I think Leicester would start to have a seed of doubt in the mind. Like they could even slip down to 4th. If Chelsea did kick on. I think it's got. When I last spoke about Chelsea, I was really impressed by them, and ever since they've gone downhill, I think it's just going to be an. I think it might be a draw. I think both teams. Although Leicester at home, I think Chelsea might just have enough to get a point. But if not, I think Leicester will be winning that.
Not a Chelsea win?
Not for me, no.
What do you think, Cam? Leicester against Chelsea?
Yeah, I think it'll be a draw, and if one team was to go on and win it, I think it would be Leicester. Chelsea, I'm very surprised Chelsea's defence. They seem to concede goals quite a lot, and I suppose it's to do with experience, and they're not used to playing with each other as much.
Battles against Arsenal the other week.
Yeah, I think it is. What's Vardy? I know he was injured, but he played. He came on sub, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he's back now.
If he starts, I think Leicester might win.
I think Chelsea might win.
Oh.
I think when you look at Chelsea away from home this season, the 2-1 win at Spurs, they beat Wolves 5-2, I think, 5-2. Played well away at City, away at Man United. I think they've been better away from home this season than they have been at home. I just think Leicester are kind of maybe spiralling off a bit, like we said earlier. I think the magic is starting to wear off a tad.
I think they'll have enough though for this season, because everyone below them's being so inconsistent. I think they'll have enough to stay in that top 4.
Yeah, I reckon they'll still finish top 4.
I think 3rd place, I think they'll finish, but I just think they've had one of those seasons where they've been so good in the first half of the season, everyone else has been so inconsistent, but I think they have dropped.
I think it might just be too comfortable now, because there's not much difference between finish 2nd and 4th, really, in terms of achievement. So, and they know they're out the title race, so I think it might just be a bit too comfortable and accept Champions League qualification.
So, score predictions. Cam, what do you think?
2-1 Leicester.
Ooh, Phil?
1-1.
2-0 Chelsea. Okay, so the 3:00 kickoffs, we've got Newcastle v Norwich, Crystal Palace versus Sheffield United, West Ham versus Brighton, Bournemouth v Aston Villa, Watford v Everton, and Liverpool v Southampton. Cam, which ones is taking your fancy?
Bournemouth versus Aston Villa, down in the relegation scrap. It's one of them where there should be goals on paper, but it might be one of them typical 0-0 draws from it or something like that. I'm not sure what to expect from that one. Probably a Aston Villa win.
Ooh.
And Bournemouth are in poor form.
Bournemouth, I think, are in the relegation spots. I think they're in the 18th at the minute. Phil, do you think Eddie Howe might get the sack? Because I remember Tom being on the podcast and saying he wanted Eddie Howe at Arsenal, and now you look at the run of games they've been on and the poor fixtures. Do you think Howe's time is up at Bournemouth?
I think it's one of those things. He's such a respected manager because of the job he's done at Bournemouth. He's been there for I think 8 years. It's a long time, and I think everyone would think it's harsh to sack him. Although they haven't been good enough this season. If they were to go down, it'd be big, because he's been in the Premier League how many seasons? 4?
I think since 15, 16.
Yeah, so about 4 years he's been in, and I think. Judge him at the end of the season. If it's to go down, I think it's time for him to go. But then they could find themselves in a position where they never come back up. If they might just turn into a championship side. They've got a big end of the season, 14 games to go. I think they really need to get their act together and get the points on the board, especially in games against Villa where, it's up for grabs. Either team could win it.
So, Bournemouth Villa, what do you think, Cam? Score prediction?
3-1 Aston Villa.
I'm
going to go for goals as well. I'm going to go 3-2 to Aston Villa.
I'm going to score draw 2-2. So, the one I wanted to focus on is the 5:30 kickoff, Man United versus Wolves. We spoke about Man United earlier. I want to speak about Wolves and what a good job they've done this season. Cam, who do you think has been the sort of key player for Wolves this season?
I think Raul Jimenez has stepped up his game quite a lot.
Brilliant.
He
player.
was. Yeah, he got good amount of goals last season, but he's pushed on again this season. Has he already got 19 goals or something?
He's got a lot of goals in all competitions. Yeah.
He's kicking
he's
on.
He's hit 20 in all competitions. That goal against Liverpool was his 20th. Wow.
And he really does hold it up top for Wolves, and he's there. Oh, I can't speak now. He's the key man up top, and he does hold it all together for them.
Phil, what about you? What do you think?
It's going to be a really interesting game because it could be Bruno Fernandes' debut for United in that game. Wolves have been a bit of a bogey side for Man United in recent memory.
I think we play them every 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, last time at Old Trafford against Wolves, you was 1-0 through Mata. I think it'll be an interesting one. I think Wolves could edge it though. Although it wouldn't surprise me if United did win. It's one of those that could go either way.
Yeah, it's a very difficult one to call because it depends what Man United side shows up.
Yeah, you never know which the way they're going to perform on the day.
Because they've not got Marcus Rashford, but last night they even though, I mean, in my opinion, they didn't deserve to win. I think they can grind out results even with the loss of key players like Pogba and Rashford. Does Matic's suspension carry over?
I'm not too sure.
Does it carry over? I think that might be key then, because if you're having to play Fred and Pereira, it's not exactly a solid base to have. So I might edge Wolves in this one.
So what's your score prediction then?
I think both teams will score. 2-1. I think Adama Traore might give Luke Shaw nightmares. 2-1. What do you think, Phil?
I'm going to go with 2-1 Wolves.
I'll go 0-0. Neither team
0-0. So we'll move on to Sunday's games just to finish up with. We'll talk about both of them. Burnley versus Arsenal. That's at 2:00, and then the big one of the weekend is Spurs versus Manchester City at 4:30. Burnley versus Arsenal. Phil, what do you reckon?
I think Arsenal will win at that one. I think they have improved slightly since Arteta's come in, and I think away from home it's one of those games that they should get 3 points, but they've only won 7 games this season in the league?
They've
something
drawn
around
quite
that.
a lot.
So I reckon Arsenal winning that one.
What do you make to Burnley this season? I know it's not exactly an interesting question, but they've been weirdly good against teams away from home, especially the big teams. Cam, do you like Sean Dyche as a manager?
I really do like him. Yeah,
I'm in agreement.
Yeah, no nonsense.
Yeah.
I do like his style. I think could do with more managers like him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Burnley are one of them sides. They'll have a really good season one year and then not the next, but they're always there in the Premier League kind of thing at the minute.
Yeah, they've almost become a staple, a bit like what Stoke were before they got relegated.
Yeah, not a very good staple
then. Score prediction then. I'll start with you, Phil. What do you think?
2-0 Arsenal.
Cam?
I'll go for 1-1.
Who the goal scorer is going to be, Phil?
Martinelli.
Ooh.
And it's tough. You know what? Martinelli brace I'm going for.
Ooh. Yeah, just on Martinelli, you think about Arsenal's youth system now, and they're bringing through a lot of good
You've got
young
a lot
talents.
of good young talent.
And you've got, obviously, Martinelli. I'd probably say at the minute is the pick of the bunch. He looks like the one that's going to go on and have the best career, probably away from Arsenal. But you've got Eddie Nketiah, who's just come back from Leeds, scored against Bournemouth on Monday night. You've got Saka, who's played left back and left mid. And he's only 17 or 18. You've got Emile Smith-Rowe, who's on loan at Huddersfield. Do you think they have the best young players in the country?
In terms of figures who are in their like first team squad, I think they have. It's one of those. There's a lot of good young talent coming through. I think in the minute, not necessarily like in every starting 11, but I think there's a lot of good young, especially English talent that's in the Premier League right now. Yeah.
Cam, I'm sure you're going to give me the argument that Man United have the best young players in the country at the minute, but what do you reckon?
Obviously Man United have the best youngsters in the country. They're like Arsenal. I've been impressed with Arsenal, to be honest. I didn't think they would play to that standard as long as they did, and especially Saka at left back. Very good, but I think you can't really look past United when you've got that's Greenwood Martinelli debate. Greenwood's better, but
well, I'd say Martinelli's better.
What are you saying, Phil?
Ooh, it's really tough.
It is a tough one because Greenwood is really good.
I think it's just that natural ability of Greenwood with the 2 feet. I think that just puts him just ahead.
He's so clinical, Greenwood. Like his finish against Everton when he came off the bench, like things like that. He's just such a good player. He's 17, isn't he? Or is he 18?
18, I think Mason Greenwood is.
He's a class player. Both are class. I think. I really can't call it.
I think Martinelli, just because, like you said, I mean, Greenwood is a natural finish, but I think Martinelli is as well. You've seen his goals in the Europa League. You know, scores with his left foot, his right foot, his head. It doesn't matter. I think Burnley might nick a draw. I think it'll be a 1-1. So very quickly, we'll just round up Spurs v Man City. We don't want to talk about Man City too much. We've already spoke about them. We already spoke about Spurs as well. Actually, I'll just ask very quickly for a score prediction. Phil, Spurs or Manchester City?
3-1 Man City.
1-0 Man City. Ooh, what are you going for, Lucas?
I think we're going to destroy him I think, like we did at Man United in the first leg of the League Cup and at Arsenal. I think we might destroy him in the first half and just lay back second half. I think 3-1 to Man City. So that will wrap up today's podcast. If you enjoyed, make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see you hopefully next week with episode 4 of the Spotlight podcast. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you very soon.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thank you.